Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and here I am with a new series for you guys to enjoy. What if the ghost of the Uchiha himself was sealed inside of Naruto? Madara Uchiha. Yes, Madara and the fox will be sealed inside Naruto in this what if. Yes, it's gonna be pretty awesome, so just stay in tune and I hope you guys enjoy. Remember to go ahead and check out the other channel guys. And if you want part 2, just comment down below and tell me and I'll be posting it as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. And yes, 4 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and making 3 anime prints, which I post what fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. Links down in the description, so go ahead, check it out, and yeah, enjoy. And don't forget to turn on the bell notifications to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this? No guys. A little side note before this begins, things are gonna be a bit different here. Some people are gonna be from different clans, just giving you guys a heads up. It's still the Naruto universe, but some things are gonna be a bit different, so know that nothing is a mistake, everything is just a bit different. Not everything per se, but a few people having a bit different background, but everything will be explained so you have nothing to worry about. All you guys have to do is just lean back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, wasting more time, what do you say? We jump right into this guys, begin now. The words had echoed through his mind. Let go of your hold on this world. It is your own grip that is holding you down, drowning you. Why? Force yourself to your own demise. Empty your heart. Release the illusion of reality. This world is nothing but deception, nothing what you accept to be. Then why would you accept an incomplete world to be the real one? Empty your mind, free your spirit into the void. See yourself, change the world, bend it to your will. Why must you constrain yourself to this broken dimension? Empty your soul and be eternal. Toby was enlightened. Only when he emptied himself completely was he able to see the true world of what it was. It was just an illusion. Witnessing Rin's death had nearly destroyed him, however, it changed many things. His Sharingan had changed. At first he never understood the significance, however Madara explained everything to him. It turns out the Sharingan has a spirit of its own, and it will adapt to the world around it when activated. It would continue to evolve to match the danger of the world to protect the wielder of the eyes, in this case, Toby. But when the danger becomes more than physical, when it becomes emotional and mental, the Sharingan evolved even further into the Mangekyou, changing how the wielder sees the world and how the wielder can manipulate it. According to Madara, there are evil and pure ways to unlock this ability. While his own way, seeing Rin die, didn't exactly seem pure, his Sharingan evolved to help him see reality in a better way. And with this new vision came new powers. He materialized in an instant as he spiraled into the main entrance of the Hokage's tower. He had spent months training with his new ocular powers, and Madara had deemed him fit for this new mission. Technically, there was only one chance to do this mission, but Toby couldn't help but agree that he was ready. Though he might be just a teenager, he was prepared to assassinate the Hokage and capture the Kyuubi. How strange, a couple of years prior he was just a weak genin, training under this Hokage himself. But those years spent under Madara and training, with his new power and his new Sharingan, Madara helped him acquire, had seen Toby soar in levels of strength. Hell, as far as he knew, he was the most powerful ninja in the world right now, given Madara's old age and weak state. He could rule the world if he desired, however this world meant nothing to him, not anymore. After Rin's death, it meant nothing. Upon entering Konoha for the first time since he was a genin, emotions flooded him to his core. However, he quelled them. Let go of your hold to this world, he muttered to himself, regaining control over his emotions as he adjusts the mask on his face. The guards at the end of the hallway noticed his appearance. They were prepared to attack. His crimson eyes started to glow with power. Free your spirit into the void, he told himself as the guards drew their kunai and rushed towards him. He snapped his own fingers. In a heartbeat, a long katana started to solidify in his hand out of nothingness. Become eternal. As they move in close, they fade right through him and slam into the door behind him. Before they could even turn though, it was over. He slashed his katana outwards. After returning back to this dimension and removing their heads, the both of them collapsed down to the ground, dead. When he turned his gaze forward, he noticed that there was a third guard standing there. As he noticed a man twice his age trembling in a mixture of fear and anger, as he couldn't help the smile that grew on his face under his mask. How tempted it is to rip off his mask, show the world that he had returned, no longer the worst in his class, but as a S-rank monster. As he put himself down into his dimension as he flew forward, half of his body being separated in the dimension while half was here, to make him seem untouchable. With his weightless dimension, he moved at such speed that the guard couldn't even reach to form hand signs or draw a kunai. As Toby proceeded to pass through the man like a ghost, and then he stopped right behind him. Turning around just as quickly, he thrust himself forward, his katana that is, right into the guard's chest. The man couldn't even say a word as he collapsed lifeless. That guard was a Jonin. He remembered he once thought how powerful Jonin was. He remembered how everyone celebrated when Kakashi reached Jonin level. He turned as he partially spat at his teammate memories. Betrayer. His time will come. He lashed himself back to his dimension as he floated forward, like some kind of phantom going through the halls. Unsurprisingly, there were several other Konoha ninjas upstairs. He's here, on the front staircase. One of them radioed in his face, covered by a mask. Anfu. These ninjas does not tremble in the sight of him, nor do they show any emotions. That was good. Maybe this would be a more challenging encounter, even though the end result would see them dead on the ground. One of them sped through Hansa and landed on the tiger seal. As he brought his hand up to his mouth and shot several speeding fireballs towards Toby. As he snapped his fingers in a theatrical way, tiny black holes appeared and sucked the fireballs away. Sure, he could have let them pass through him like nothing, however, this was far more entertaining. Two of them flashed behind him without hesitation as two katanas ripped right through his chest. However, it did absolutely nothing. He chuckled when he heard them curse. This was so much fun. He spun as he created another tiny black hole that appeared in front of his eye hole. Reality started to warp and spiral as they were sucked into it. The hole disappeared without a sound, as did the two Anfus. He turned to look at the others, and then he finally saw it. That moment of fear, that hesitation that he was looking for. Even some of the highly trained ninjas in the world are flinching when their friends die, and realized that they were seconds away from death as well. I'm here to bring about the creation of a new world, said Toby as he stepped forward. You cannot stop me, he said. He flew towards them with immense speed. Passing through, he lashed his katana into the guy's chest, tearing through. The man's eyes went lifeless as he collapsed down to the ground. Toby had forged his katana into the void after all. He could latch it into the real world like himself, and the blade would seemingly pass through virtually anything with no problem, except when it came in contact with anything living. It would cut through the soul or a human life force. He didn't fully understand how it worked. When he first realized that he could see the souls or life energy of people or creatures in separate dimensions, he had tried to attack them from in there, but no damage could be done. He even forged his blade with a strange metal that he found in his dimension. Only when he was fully latched into the physical world that his blade, that is when it cut anything. When it came in contact with anything that had chakra life force, it would destroy it completely from the spiritual realm. By the time he reached a hallway leading to the office, about 2 dozen ninjas lay dead behind him. The last two were shaking with fear and rage. They were Chunins. It was understandable after killing multiple Chunin and Anfus. Chunin stood no chance. Move aside. I tire of killing you. There is nothing you can do that can stop me, Toby said. Surprisingly enough, one of them dropped their kunai and bolted to the right. Seriously, he turned his gaze towards the man and activated Kamui. When he turned to face the other guard, he winked at him, however the man wouldn't be able to tell, with his mask on. What a dick, Toby said to the other guard, who seems like he wanted to run away himself. I mean, you guys have one job, don't you? To guard the Hokage. Shouldn't someone with that job not run away when the Hokage is about to be attacked. As he snapped his finger, the deserter appeared in front of him on his knees, confused and disorientated. Before he could say anything, Toby cut him down. He then went back into his translucent world as he simply walked past the other guard. Once he was inside the office, he latched on back to the real world. I stand before you, eternal, divine, and I... Toby was surprised because no one was there. Instead, there was another man there, old, with dark hair, and a glint in his eye. Damn. Perhaps he had been too naive to think that Hokage would be here in the first place. Who are you? The man barked out an order, still seated behind the decks. This man did not realize how much danger he was in. What was his name again? Oh yes, Danzo. Toby did not know much about him, but if Danzo sat here in the office, that meant he likely knew where his old sensei Minato was. And if Minato wasn't here, then he was definitely protecting his wife and the nine-tailed fox. Toby simply walked forward, half lashing himself outside his dimension. Kunais flew from the shadows as they all fly through him. He felt like a god. There was nothing they could do to harm him as he walked. I am no one, said Toby, his own words tasting bitter on his tongue. But so are we all. This world will soon be nothing. So tell me, Danzo, where's the Hokage and his wife? Rather than waiting for a response, he summoned a large amount of chakra and brought it towards his right eye. His eye twisted and turned into a new shape, the Mangetsu. As he activated the technique, the Kodomasukami, he searched through the mind of Danzo. Kodomasukami was a Mangetsu technique that allowed one to enter and dominate a person's mind completely. It was a sister version of the Tsukiyomi. Toby was not that adept at using it though, and he probably will never be. He could not just manipulate people like Madara once used to be able to do, and it drained a lot of chakra from him as well. The Mangetsu Sharingan user they only unlocked with 2 native techniques. All the others were far harder to learn and far harder to master. Toby had been planning on saving these dudes for the Hokage, but he could only use it once a day. But there was no use saving his chakra if he couldn't find the Hokage in the first place, so he had to act now. After a second pass in the real world, he left Danzo's mind, as he found what he wanted. He couldn't help but chuckle at the wicked things that he saw in such a short time. So he's over at a cave outside the village, huh? Danzo eyes wide hearing that. But I don't have to worry about you intervening. After all, this whole defense is a ruse. You want to become Hokage yourself. Danzo eyes narrowed in hate. Who are you? He asks. First the Senju, next the Uchiha, then the Hyuga. You wish to take power for yourself and then remove it from everyone around you. You may ultimately aim for peace, but you're so short-minded in your plans. So naive for someone your age. Know this. I am the will of Madara Uchiha, and against his will, Konoha will burn. As he disappeared, miles away from the village, Toby couldn't arrive at a better time after killing the guards. It was a special occasion. The redhead had just given birth, meaning that the seal was becoming undone. Placing a Jinchuriki inside of a woman means if she ever gave birth to a child, the seal will be gravely weakened if someone was not there to support it. The beast will be free. Congratulations, he said, making his presence known. The fourth An, Kushina, turned towards him. He smiled as he looked towards Kushina. Their mistake. As his Sharingan spin, the next moment he appeared inside of a sewer complex, having entered Kushina's subconscious. Looking, he saw the gigantic gates of the Kyuubi cage torn open. Madara ensured him that normally a paper would be on the gates that only the Jinchurikis could touch. But during childbirth, that seal will be weak enough that the fox will be able to break free in her subconscious before breaking free in the real world. So if that was the case, where was the tail beast now? He started to step deeper and deeper beyond the gates as he started to hear breathing. Something that could only come from a beast of that size. Perhaps sensing his presence, there was a snarl. It almost sounded like the creature was in pain. He then saw it. Chains came from the ground and wrapped around the fox, ensnaring it. Who are you? And what do you want with the 9 tails? Turning his gaze, he saw her standing there, Kushina Uzumaki her hand in the snake seal, trying to restrain the fox in her subconscious. Very impressive. Even while going through with childbirth, you still possess this amount of strength. You haven't had that fun of a night, have you? Who the hell are you? Kushina yelled. Unfortunately, I'm here to make your night even worse, he said. He reached up and unclipped his mask, removing it. Kushina's eyes widened in shock. Obito? Obito, is that you? However, he ignored her. The fox saw the eyes. Those eyes. Kushina, you pitiful brat! Stop him! The fox roared out. Although he was flattered the fox saw him as a threat, it was already too late. Pushing all the chakra he could in his eyes, with the fox out of the cage. Currently in our mindscape because it was free from the cell, he activated his technique. Enter the void. Kamui! A gigantic black hole appeared and started to suck the fox into the abyss. Sucking the fox away. Obito nearly fell to his knees from exhaustion after sucking the fox away. He had done it. He had sealed away a tailed beast in his own dimension. His overall visual power was not as strong as Madara's, but at least now, he was strong enough to temporarily seal the beast away. His Sharingan returned back to normal as he opened his eye. He was standing in a safe house once again as he looked at the fourth Hokage and Kushina. The baby was crying. It looked like the fort was about to attack until Kushina talked to him. Minato, watch out, she said. He just entered my mind and stole the Kyuubi from me. It's Obito. Obito Uchiha, your old student. Stole the Kyuubi? Obito? No. Obito died years ago. Minato's mind was baffled hearing that. Now that he sealed the beast away, his mission was complete. He just had to return to Madara and slash. The Hokage appeared within an instant and slashed at his face. The speed was so blindingly fast. All he could do was lean back to avoid getting his eyes gouged out. The blade was able to crack his mask, but luckily he was somehow able to avoid getting hurt. Before the fort could do a follow-up, he made sure to lash himself into the void. Halfway, he didn't have enough chakra to warp himself all the way to Madara. He needed at least several seconds to regenerate. It is you, Obito. As his mask fell to the floor, the fort looked at him with a look of shock, confusion, pity, and anger. The last thing he needed right now was anything from this man. This man trying to lecture or plead for him to return. Damn him, the fort had probably held back on purpose to break his mask to expose him. He wondered if the fort would have ended his life if Kushina hadn't said his name. That's not my name anymore, he said, as he tried to buy a few more seconds. Minato Sensei, it's been a while, hasn't it? Sorry I can't stay and talk. A pitiful tear fell down his face. Obito, I'm so glad that I haven't lost two of my students. Rage filled inside his heart hearing that, as his fists clenched. Took a deep breath, he contained his emotions, calming himself. He was no longer Obito. He controlled himself. Smell you later, old man. And good luck with tonight. You're gonna need it. With that, he sucked himself away. Elsewhere, when he lashed back in the world, he fell to his knees, breathing heavily. His hand reached out as he held onto the ground, seeking stability. Despite his exhausted state, he couldn't help the grin that spread across his face. He had done it. He did not fail. You've returned. He tried to get a hold of his breathing as he looked on none other than Madara Uchiha, seated on this stone throne. Master, he humbly said, not waiting for Madara to ask the obvious. I've succeeded in capturing the Nine Tails. I hold him prisoner in the void as we speak. Childish as he might be, Toby had hoped that Madara would break out in a laugh or a smile, congratulating him for his success. Good, the man said, his face remaining the same. I expected nothing less from my student. My greatest one, that is. All of his life, people looked down at him as a failure. But here he was getting praise from none other than Madara Uchiha himself. What else could be greater than this? Madara Uchiha invested in someone like him, and it paid off. And your mask? Has the Leaf Village discovered your identity? Toby dropped his head in shame. Master, I have failed to kill the fourth Hokage. I was simply too exhausted after sealing the Kyuubi into the void, after I left Kushina subconscious. The fort attacked me and destroyed my mask. Only him and Kushina saw my face. I'm so sorry, he said. Madara dismissed the apology with great effort. Madara Uchiha rose. Rise, my apprentice, he said, as he slowly walked over towards him. You have not failed me. Killing the fourth Hokage was never an important matter in the first place. Your mission was a success. You've done an Uchiha proud, my boy. Madara wasn't disappointed in him. That brought him great happiness. As he walked over until he was standing in front of him, Madara's white hair was so long that it nearly touched the floor. Madara did not have much time left. He had to succeed in this mission. Do you have enough chakra to cast me into the void? Madara asked, as he gently placed his hand on his shoulder. I wish to confront the Kyuubi now, while I still have enough energy. I want you to wait 5 minutes once I'm inside, and then cast me back. Toby got up as he pushed his chakra into his eyes. Good luck, Sensei. Come away. Just like before the fox, except the dark hole was smaller, as Madara was sucked inside. Once his sensei was gone, he fell once more, as he was exhausted once again. He groaned and clutched at his eyes as blood continued to drip from them. It had taken a great toll on him. Even with the new Sharingan transplanted to the other side of his face, he could barely see, 10 feet ahead of him. It was rather amazing how quickly his vision was deteriorating, using these accursed eyes. It was like he was given the power for a god, however he could only use it for a year, until he'd go blind. Unlike Madara Sensei, he didn't have a brother whose eyes he could steal to gain the eternal Mangekyou. He would have to rely on the storage of Sharingan that Madara had collected over the years. 5 minutes passed as he regained enough chakra to summon him back. At the moment, he had 2 powerful beings locked away in his Kamui state. They would never be able to escape because Toby had been the only one to unlock this ability. If he did nothing now, the both of them would be sealed away for eternity. But if he summoned back his sensei, the future of the world, it would change forever. The choice was easy. This world was no longer his own. A world without rain. He didn't want to be a part of that world. And Madara will change that. He will change everything. Come away! Someone fell out of a spear and landed in front of him. As Toby looked up, word that something went immensely wrong. A man with long dark hair slowly rose to his feet, decked out in his Uchiha armor. The man looked no older than 30. When he saw the face, he had no doubt. It was him, but how did he get so young? What's the matter, Toby? Madara asked, his tone sounding jovial. It is still me. I have tamed the 9 tails and absorbed enough of his energy and life force that I have returned. I stand before you, Uchiha Madara, at last. Toby fell to his knees once again, but this time it was voluntary. As he bowed before his revived sensei, the man whose Sharingan was so powerful that he could tame the 9 tails. Master, he humbly said. He had wondered how Madara would attack and destroy the leaf like he claimed. But now Toby understood. He was glad that he put his faith in Madara, trusting him the entire way. Do not kneel before me any longer, said Madara. At this moment, you are no longer my student. You are my peer, my partner in trying to right the wrongs of this world. I will never forget your contribution to my plan, Toby. When I remake the world, I will ensure that you and your love are a part of it as we originally planned. I will never go back on my word after all. Toby couldn't help but be overjoyed as tears freely fell down from his face. He would have a world without war, without chaos, a world with rain. Good luck, Madara, he said. I'm sure the hidden leaf will fall before your might. However, my chakra, I wish to join you, but do not worry, Toby. I will come back for you when I finish destroy the corruption of the Leaf Village. And when I do, we will start the next phase of our plan. We will capture the remaining tail beasts and execute the Moon Eye plan. Your work, your fame, your servitude, it will pay off, my friend. As Madara started to walk, before he left, he turned back, his eyes transforming into the legendary Eternal Mangekyou. Toby, you and I will end the war that plagues this world. We will achieve true peace. We will eradicate evil once and for all. I will become the new god of our world, and your reward shall be splendid for your service. With that, he quickly made his way off. As Toby was left there, only to wait until the man returned. Time skip, Konoha, 3rd Hokage. He had truly hoped he never had to put on this armor ever again, as he slapped everything on though. Lord 3rd, the 9 tails is appearing within the village. It's destroying everything. The fort is nowhere to be seen. Harrison nodded. I understand, he said. Fearing those dreadful words, tell the head ninja to rally Jonin and Anvus and begin to attack the Kyuubi. The Chunin and Genis are to begin evacuation immediately. I will head straight to battle. Go at once, he said. As the man nodded and moved, he went through hand sign. Summoning Jutsu. The king of the monkeys have arrived. Enma. Good lord, it's the 9 tails, Enma said, as he turned. What the hell is going on, Hiruzen? The Kyuubi appear within the village. Looks like someone summoned it. Look, there is someone on top of the beast's head. Sure enough, Enma saw the humanoid person standing on top of the beast's head. Any person that jumped past the Kyuubi, the person on top would burn them with fire jutsu. What vicious chakra, even from here. Both Enma and Hiruzen could feel the vicious chakra from that person. Let's not waste any time, transform, and help me push the fox out of the village. Right, here I go, Sir Toby. Poof. He transformed into his staff form. Hiruzen leaped forward as he rushed. Everyone watched as something slammed into the fox, throwing it backwards as Enma, in his staff form, pushed the fox back. Lord Third, Chicago rushed up towards him. I briefed the higher level ninjas. They're to keep fighting the Kyuubi outside the village, but the fort is nowhere to be seen. Damn it all, where are you, Minato? He knew that Minato was to be guarding Kushina while she gave birth, and the seal on the Kyuubi became weak. Obviously he had failed, that meant Minato wasn't able to successfully keep Kushina safe. Was it possible that man on top of the Kyuubi was the one that set the beast loose? Had he killed the fort as well? Who was capable of such a feat? Hiruzen leaped over the village wall as he went after the beast. Whoever this man was that summoned the Kyuubi, he would find out one way or another, as he used Enma to go all the way by pushing himself up in the mid-air. Once he was high above the Kyuubi, he retracted Enma and he started to fall, right towards the beast's head. At this angle, he might use the staff to break the nine-tailed skull. If worlds came to pass, he might use the Reaper Death Seal. The man, though, appeared beneath Hiruzen, reaching out his blade to impale him. Hiruzen spun Enma around and blocked the blade, but what he saw shocked him to no end. As he looked into the eyes of Uchiha Madara, he immediately averted his eyes from the Sharingan, knowing that looking to them would meet certain death. Madara took advantage of that and spun. A brutal kick slammed into his armor, throwing him. Several ribs were broken as Hiruzen crashed. A Konoha ninja interrupted his descent though, as they collided into the Konoha canopy. At least, it wasn't too brutal. It's Madara Uchiha, he didn't know how, but somehow, Madara is alive and he used the Kyuubi to attack the village. Summoning Jutsu! Gamabunta slammed hard on top of the beast's head. As Hiruzen stood, as he saw Minato stand on top of the summoning toad's head, thank goodness, he was alive. And just as quickly as he appeared, flash, they were all gone. It was Harushin, the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Several ninjas let off cheers thinking the beast was slayed. As Hiruzen looked until he saw, over there he said, Shikaku, assemble a squad of best envoys who are prepared to give up everything to follow me after the Fort Hokage. I think I know what he's planning to do, and I must stop him. Everyone else remain and protect the village. By the time they arrived, it was too late. The fort had set up a barrier, and no one could go through or leave. No one else but the fort could pull off something like this by himself, not even Jiraiya. As Hiruzen and the envoys sprinted around as they saw through what was going on. The Kyuubi was bound and chained by Kushina. As Minato went through multiple seals, those hand signs, he's gonna sacrifice himself. Hiruzen watched everything played out as the nine-tail started to shrink in size until Minato fell over from exhaustion. What? I don't understand. He should have sealed the demon away with that technique. Did he not have enough? Lord Third, look in front of the fort. It's a child. Sure enough, he saw a baby right in the center in a shrine, crying in fear as he saw the bright blonde hair. Minato, you fool, he cried out. Don't do this. Let me take the place of a child. Seal the fox in me instead. Either not hearing him or ignoring him, Minato walked forward. No, please, not in your own Dead Reaper seal. Later, Hiruzen walked up towards a child that was still crying in fear. Naruto, that was the name that they had chosen for him. Hiruzen saw the dead body and scorched marks. There was flames marked all over the place. But where was Madara Uchiha? Had that man escaped somehow? How was he even alive in the first place? The baby then stopped crying as he looked down towards him. Looking at the seal, he was confused because it was different. Had Minato made some sort of error? This was not the seal that Jiraiya had described. As he reached down until he froze, he felt a sinister chakra even more than the Kyuubi itself inside the baby. His heart nearly stopped as he glanced up towards Naruto's eyes. They were glowing bright crimson with 3 Tomo Sharingan in both. There was no doubt it was a Sharingan. When the baby blinked though, it returned back to a normal blue color. As he understood exactly what happened, something else was sealed inside the child. Uchiha Madara himself. Time skip. 4 years later, orphanage of Konoha. Lunchtime. The children cheer as they ran out of the playroom, running towards the cafeteria. Lunchtime was one of the most pleasant times of the day. Then they would go outside and play. So, it was a reason why they were so happy. All of them had smiles on their faces except for one child. Naruto Uzumaki. He had been born a happy child, but that had changed after spending several years in this hellhole. Ever since he could remember, the adults would treat him badly, and they would raise the other kids to do the same. His smiles and laughs would be ignored and scorned. It was almost like it pained everyone else to see him happy. He honestly had no idea why he was treated so badly yet. He would always get accidentally hurt, push. This morning an adult accidentally spilled coffee on him, which caused him to cry in pain and everyone laughed at him. He always tried his best not to cry, but sometimes he just couldn't help it, the pain and sadness being too much. As if it wasn't hard enough to not have any parents, the orphanage itself seems to hate him. But despite all of that, he tried his best to smile all the time and keep a positive attitude. It was all he could do, and to show them that it doesn't matter what they do, he would always be happy. He looked left and right as he walked out of the playroom, but not before strapping on a small bag on his back. He kept all of his belongings, as few as they were, in a bag that he found outside one day, abandoned and forgotten, after several incidents where its toothbrush had fallen into the toilet, or its plush doll fox had been thrown away. He luckily saved it though. He decided to carry everything that he hold dear with him. He was only 4 years old, but his mistreatment made him smart. Street smart, that is, mostly. He knew that he would be safer if he do things on his own, so for the past few months he tried to do things solo. As he walked to the lunchroom quietly and picked up his own tray as he entered the room, while the other kids had the food served to them, he learned that if he expected lunch lady to serve him, he would be left with an empty scowl and no food. "Why would I serve you food?" she had said to him before. It didn't matter anyways, getting his own food was not that hard. He was going to pick out his usual lonely meal when he noticed there was some extra chicken left in the main pot. He was about to grab some and put some on his plate until smack! He pulled his hand back as she smacked his arm. She appeared behind him and smacked his arm with a large spoon. "That's not for you, Fox," she hissed out. Sorry, he apologized quickly and moved around as he scooped up some mushy rice. As he brought it over to his own small table, the food was never enough to fill him up, but he tried to ask for more. But he was rewarded with a slap to the face. For now, this will have to do. Once he was done, he was about to put the tray away until someone slipped their foot out and tripped him, as he fell right on his face. The room was filled with laughter as Naruto picked himself up and left, crying to himself. Later that day, he was outside, his bag stuck beside him as he waited for the day to pass. He had tried to join the game of soccer that they were playing, but they laughed at him and told him to go somewhere else. Despite not having that, he decided to do something else. He would just teach himself things that the teachers would not teach him. There were different ages at the orphanage, and for the older groups, they started to learn how to read and write. Some of them even how to become a ninja. He knew that they would never alone play with ninja toys, so one day, he stole a scroll and decided to learn how to read. As he spent hours on hours, eventually he'll be able to teach himself, and maybe if he did, the adults would respect him even more. As he started to make progress, his eyes were better than most children. He noticed that after studying things for a while, it always stick with him no matter what. As he pulled out another scroll and started to teach himself, it was very boring, but he hoped that it would pay off as he taught himself. The next day outside, Naruto was against a tree once again, his backpack next to him as he ate dinner by himself. This spot was his favorite spot. He was far enough away from the orphanage so no one would mess around with him, but it was still between the large walls surrounding the orphanage. Konoha was truly a beautiful village as far as he could tell, and the weather outside was delightful. He was sure that Konoha was pretty outside, but the only time he's been out there was when he woke up in the hospital and he was brought back here. But at least then he was able to see the village while walking back, and it was amazing. As he started to eat the food rather slowly, hoping that it would prolong his hunger. Each day seemed to be the same, going in the same rhythm. When the children reached 8, they were able to enter the academy. It was a place where you become ninja. He heard what a ninja was, so he can go outside and do missions, and he immediately latched on to the idea. He would become a ninja when he turned 8, but the orphanage would not allow him unless he learned how to read and write, so he trained himself. No matter how boring it was, he would learn everything, and earn the respect of, hey. Naruto stopped, spinning around rather quickly to defend himself, as he expects some mud to be thrown at him, or to be insulted. He had really hoped that no one figured out where his secret hangout place was. He didn't want anyone to make fun of him. However, he found a girl his age. She had dark brown hair, and her face did not have the look of malice like most people had looking at him. In fact, she looked curious, like she was looking down at a beaten puppy. He knew this girl. She was the one everyone treated like a princess. Why would she want to talk to him? Are you going to say something, or are you going to stare at me all day? I know you're smart enough to talk, I think, she said. Naruto shrugged and simply went back to his scroll, hoping not to get into trouble. The last time he tried to talk with her, he was in a whirl of hurt. According to his supervisor, someone as him should never talk with someone as her. Well, you're not very interesting, she said as she crossed her arms and pouted. He looked up at her with annoyance over his face. He had enough mockery for one day, and he didn't need this spoiled girl to come over here and ruin his spot. But still, he put on one of his fake smiles, hoping if he did something she would go away. I'm sorry. I don't know any tricks. And you should probably go now, or everyone would think I give you rabies or something. She looked around. But that is why I came here, she said. Everyone says that you're a monster and they tell stories about the terrible things that you've done. What? Said Naruto, anger welling up inside of him. Why would they tell you those stories? I've never done anything wrong except for that time I threw a tomato at the teacher, but that was only once. She smiled and giggled as she sat down. See? I know you couldn't have done all that stuff, she said. You're only as old as me. As Naruto leaned back, is that why everyone thought that he was a monster? Because the adults told him to, and they tell stories about him at night. But why would they do that? Did they know something that he did not? He turned back towards the girl. He thought that she would make fun of him the most. Was she setting a prank up or something? So you're saying you don't think I'm a monster, he asks. She nodded happily. Tuh, as if. You're just a little princess. The girl that is treated the best. You will believe everything they tell you. She frowned as anger spread over her face. So you're saying just because I'm treated well, I'm not smart? She stood up and placed her hand on her hips as she gave him a stern look. Well, I guess you're as stupid as everyone say you are. Naruto got to his feet getting angry. How dare she call him stupid like that? Me? I'm smarter than you, and I have to teach myself. I don't have the adults kissing my feet and teaching me everything. You're a princess who doesn't know anything and can't do anything by herself. This is probably the first time you've ever been insulted. This was the first time she was insulted as she stepped forward. Hey, you're just a stupid idiot, she said. He stepped up closer. You can't assume that. You don't even know me, he said. Well, you can't assume that I'm a stupid princess. You don't even know me either. She puffed her chest out, trying to seem taller. Well, you assume first, said Naruto. No, you assume first. No, you did, said Naruto. No, you did. You and everyone else, said Naruto. No, I'm not like everyone else, she said. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You don't know me, she said, shouting in his face. By now their foreheads were pushed together, their eyes glaring at each other with intensity. She took a step back before she moved and pushed him over as Naruto fell to the ground. Huh, that's what you get. That ought to show you that. Naruto threw her back to the ground as she was cut off as he stood over her. What, you thought I was going to push you back? You really are in your own world, he said to her. Instead of retaliating though, she lifted up her nice dress as her knee was covered in blood. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. He had pushed her too hard, and now she was bleeding. He had actually hurt someone if the adults got him into trouble for not doing anything. What would they do now, especially that he hurt her? Oh no, said Naruto as he moved towards her. He fell down all the time, but he never bled. And if he did, it was a big fall. But he healed minutes after. Are you alright? He asked. He had never hurt anyone before. What was he supposed to do? Tears started to flow down her face. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Naruto started to freak out. You ruined my dress. And you hurt my knee, she said. At this point, Naruto considered running away and hiding for the rest of his life. There, he said, trying to hold her in his arms, as he saw adult do to another child that got hurt before. You're gonna be alright, he said. She continued to cry for a couple of minutes as he held her in his arms. Eventually, the tears ceased as she was able to talk. I'm going to go to the hospital, she said. I don't want to die. She had never been hurt before, not like this, and she had never seen her blood before. So she was worried. Naruto shook his head. No, no, no. You're gonna be fine, he said, as he was panicking, looking around. He rushed over to where his bag was as he came back a few seconds later. Here, he said. I know how to fix this, as he put her knee into his lap. Or at least this is what I do when this happened to me. As he pulled a bottle of water out, as he poured half on her wound, she gasped and grabbed onto him in pain. He turned to look at her, really worried. Alright, this is probably gonna hurt a bit. Try your best not to scream, he said, as he pressed one of his napkins against her wound. She grabbed onto him and closed her eyes, her face reddened. In concentration, after several seconds he took the napkin off. She took a huge breath, inhaling. Naruto looked down and it wasn't bleeding anymore. He then looked as he found on a band-aid. Relieved that he still had one. Because the adults would not give him any, he decided to steal one night for himself. He peeled it before he placed it in her wound. She gasped once more. He then patted her knee as he pulled the dress down. "You're gonna be alright," he said, as she sat up across from him. After a minute of silence, he hoped that she still wasn't mad. "I'm really sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to push you." "Well, I did, but I didn't think that you would get hurt," he said. She released a sigh before she giggled a bit as she wiped her tears away. Truthfully, she was embarrassed as she cried so hard in front of him. "It's alright," she said. "I pushed you too. So we're even now, okay?" As Naruto looked towards her, "Are you gonna tell on me?" he asked. She looked at her dirty dress as Naruto started to sweat. "No, I won't tell on you." As a smile came on his face, he was glad that he was going to get into trouble. As he smiled back at her, "You took pain well," he told her. "For a princess." "I'm not a princess," she said. "Yeah, you are," said Naruto. She jumped up and tackled him, pinning him down. "Who's a princess now?" she said. "You still are," said Naruto. "No, I'm not. You're a stupid baka." "And you're a princess," said Naruto. "Why do you think that's a bad thing though?" he asked her. "Because I'm not a princess. If I was, I would have family. No king or queen would ever give up their princess to an orphanage," she said. "What does it matter? So many people want to adopt you. I overheard the adults saying about the council or something haven't yet voted upon what rich family gets to own you. No one would want to own me though, apparently not even my own parents. Everyone say I'm a monster and an idiot, and I have no idea why." She frowned as she realized he was having a much harder time at the orphanage than she had. But she was still sad all the time. Maybe she should become friends with him. After all, they both relate to each other in so many ways. "People assume I'm stupid and a monster," Naruto continued. "And I know I'm normal, just like you. And people assume I'm a spoiled princess," she said. "But I really am not," she said to him, as Naruto looked up towards her. "I don't really think you're a spoiled princess anymore. You took the pain pretty well." She smiled, hearing that. "And I don't think you're an idiot anymore," she said. "You heal my wound like a medic ninja, and ding 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 ding. Children, it's time to come inside." As the matron of the orphanage spoke out, her voice rang out over the speakers. The girl got up and dusted herself off, Naruto doing the same, as Naruto picked up his stuff as she started to help him, as they placed the things in the bag. "What's this?" she said, looking at the fox. "Oh, this? That's Kitsune, my pet fox friend. He's my only friend here. He's been with me since I was younger. The orphanage said that some man or someone left it for me when I was born. Strange, huh?" As Naruto placed it within his bag, she didn't respond though as his statement hit her hard. She understood what it felt like to have no parents. Everyone in the orphanage did, but to have no friends. As she remembered, even the adults treat him really badly. Before now, she never thought about what it'd feel like to be him. "What's your name?" she said. "Name is Naruto Uzumaki," he said. "Or at least that is what they told me. You better remember that name though, because I'm gonna be a big and important ninja one day." She willed herself to say what she wanted to say next. "Naruto Uzumaki, will you be friends with me?" she asked, as she looked him deep within the eyes. His eyes widened in shock as he dropped his bag. "Really? Do you really mean that?" She nodded her head. "Woohoo!" he yelled. "Yes, my first real friend," he shouted in glee and happiness. As the two walked up back to the orphanage, a question popped up in his mind. "Hey, what's your name?" he asked. She turned towards him with a smile. "My name? It's Hinata Senju," she said to him. A week later, evening, Naruto's friendship with Hinata Senju became a dilemma at Konoha Orphanage. After all, what adulthood supports Naruto, the fox child, being friends with Hinata Senju, the last living Senju within Konoha. She was one of the most important people in the village, if not the most. Ever since Tsunade abandoned the village, she was the only hope of keeping the powerful bloodline limit of the Senju alive. Yet the two were inseparable. Reasons no one could understand. They eat lunch together, they play together, and even sit together during story time. Not only that, they could not harm Naruto while he was near her, fearing of hurting her or making her angry. She was treated so well because she might support them when she became the clan head, and she would hate them if they mistreated Naruto right here and now. As the both of them were under Naruto's tree, at his little spot, as Hinata placed a plushie toy beside her, she didn't know why, but she really liked the fox, and she started to carry it around with her for the past week. She tilted her head as Naruto pulled out his water bottle. "Naruto, why don't you take the good food like everyone else?" she asked him. The adults won't let me take it, said Naruto. So I just eat this stuff all the time. It's not as bad as it looks after a couple weeks of eating it. Well, unless they make it taste really bad, or spicy or something else on some days. She shook her head in anger, upset that he received this treatment. After all these weeks she thought that he just liked to eat the food, but no. They didn't give him anything better. She scooted some of her own rice and meat and vegetables onto his plate. As she gave him half, "Here you go," she said. "You can have some of mine." "But, Hinata, won't you be hungry?" "No, silly. I'll be fine," she said with this. He smiled, and after giving her a thanks, he dug in. As he ate faster than her, he demolished it in about 30 seconds. "From now on," she said, "you can always have my food." "But you wouldn't have enough," said Naruto. "I don't want you to be forced to eat half meals because of me." She thought about it. "Alright, tomorrow, you will take the good food when I'm there, okay? They usually don't treat you so bad when I'm there." As Naruto thought about it, "You're right," he said. "You're like my guardian angel or something. Whenever you're around me, I don't get hurt." She smiled, happy that she was able to help her friend. Now that she thought about it, Naruto was her only real friend. The adults only treat her nice because of her last name, and she was sure that the kids do that as well. But Naruto liked her on his own accord, and he didn't even know what her last name meant. Well, neither did she, but even if he knew, he didn't care. Hey Naruto," she said. "Yeah," said Naruto, looking up towards her. "I was thinking, are we best friends?" "Do you want to be best friends with me?" she said. Hinata watches Naruto seem to pause. "Are you alright?" she said, as he hadn't moved in a while. Naruto had been through much in his short life. Everyone seemed to hate him and want him to feel pain, but this person. She treated him so nice and now she wanted to be his best friend. Tears gathered in his eyes as he hugged her. Hinata was surprised. "Yes, I would like that," said Naruto. Time skip a few months later. It had been roughly half a year since Naruto and Hinata became friends. Nothing the adults would do could convince the both of them to stay away from each other, no matter what they said, as they would not dare touch Naruto when Hinata was there neither, fearful that she would bring them down, as they were currently on the roof of the orphanage. "I'm sick of this place, Naruto-kun," Hinata complained. It was not the first time he heard her say such a thing. In fact, she complained about it daily nowadays. "I can't believe they still won't let you train in kunai, or even take a few strolls." Naruto leaned back, so he said in a casual tone, "Most kids who join the academy don't know how to use kunais yet." "Well, that's at least what they told us. We don't get to use a kunai until we join the academy. And why do you want the scrolls anyway? We barely know how to read them." Hinata huffed his comment away and leaned down next to him, as she clutched the toy next to her chest. Her hair was still long dark brown, and her eyes are dark brown same way. "I can't wait until we become ninjas together," she said. "We get to be on the same team, fighting bad guys together and stuff. And we get to be out of the orphanage. We'll have our own apartment next to each other." Naruto frown interrupted her, bringing her back to reality. "That sounds fun," he said. "But we both know that you're going to be adopted by some super rich clan, and I'm going to be stuck in some dirty apartment." "No," she said. "I'm sure that you will get adopted too. We might even get adopted by the same clan." She grabbed onto his arm, trying to convince him. "They hate me," Hinata-chan, said Naruto. "They wouldn't even want me cleaning the floors that you walk on, and they wouldn't want me near you." "Well, we can wish for that, can't we?" she said. Naruto knew that the world hated him for some reason. The thought of being separated from his guardian angel, it made him feel miserable inside. "All we can do is enjoy the time that we have now, because you can be adopted any day now," as he held her hand. Hinata closed her eyes, trying not to cry. "Don't say that," she said. He was just as precious to her as she was to him, as she held onto his arm. "Come on, Hinata-heim," said Naruto. "Don't be such a baby," said Naruto. "Besides, I wouldn't even let them come and take you away. They will have to get through me first," said Naruto. That made her smile. Later that night, the Hokage sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose as all the council members filed in. The clan heads held their heads high, waiting for this meeting to start. It was quite an important meeting, one that Hiruzen was not looking forward to. Even though this was the third time they had the same meeting for the same reason, the decision was still not decided. "I see everyone's accounted for," he said. "Very well, we will begin what we came here for. We will decide which clan will adopt Miss Hinata Senju until she begin to form her own clan." Immediately, the room erupted in argument. Everyone shouted, Why they should adopt the child, Sir Toby could not tell the difference between this room and the academy room. Silence, he roared, shutting them all up. We will go about this like the respected ninjas and leaders that we are. Now I will first declare that Miss Hinata is a Senju, and as a village, it is our desire to raise her as a ninja to create the mighty Senju clan once more, reviving the great will of fire that brought this village from the ground. That being said, I will only allow a prestigious ninja clan to adopt Hinata. There is no debate upon this statement. There was some grumbling from the clan heads that were not ninjas, but majority nod their head in agreement. I will begin this by hearing out what the clan heads have to say about this matter. Tatsumi Inuyasaka, I'll begin with you. She stood up proudly. Hinata Senju should go to our clan, she said. The Inuyasakas know how to raise others like they are our own. We will treat her well and she would bond with the family, and then she will support you and give your clan money. When she's older, Shikaku Nara interrupted her, earning himself a strong glare. All you want, all majority of this council want is a user. For their own reasons and our resources. Not for a beneficial reason of the village. This is more of a fight who get the power of the Senju and their inheritance. It's like a bunch of kids fighting over who get the last candy bar. He sighed and leaned back in his chair. He agreed with him, but Hiruzen still had to reprimand him for his outburst doing another speak. Please keep your thoughts to yourself while others are speaking, he said. Shikaku shrugged as he simply placed his hands behind his head. Inuyasaka, I've heard your main argument and I will continue on with the council, as he earned a fierce glare of his own. Choza, of the Akimichi clan, what do you say? As of now, said Choza, I do not believe a Senju should go to any large clan. All that will accomplish will let their heads swell up with their own selfish motives and raise her to be their own, like the Inuyasaka mentioned. They will only try to make her of their own clan, fusing the Senju bloodline with theirs. She should either be privately trained until she can create her own clan, or be given to a less prestigious clan that wouldn't let it go to their heads, like the Naras. The Hokage nodded as he moved on to the next member. Shibi, would you care to share your thoughts? He said towards the Aburame clan head. I would agree with Choza's statement, though it is logical to voice my own thoughts. We all know that she will either be given to the Uchiha or the Hyuga, the largest clans with the large amount of support and members. It will be logical to skip this nonsense and let the two clans debate themselves. As they start to murmur once again, Hiruzen sighed if only it was his choice to decide her future. Very well, Hayashi. Tell us why your clan should adopt her. As he skipped over several clan heads to get to the Hyuga clan head, I would agree with Shibi to some degree. The only debate here is whether she will go to my clan or to the Uchiha clan, he said. His voice filled with venom as he said Uchiha. On that matter, it's clearly obvious that a Senju should not fall in the hands of the Uchiha. Since the beginning of the founding village, they have been rivals. Giving a Senju up to their clan will be foolish. The Hyuga, however, befriended the Senjus immediately when they allow us to enter the village, long before my birth. And to my knowledge, they continue to remain on social terms until their departure from the village. I plan to continue this ancient bond and strengthen the Senju. We will train her to become the powerful heir she needs to be in order to establish a Senju clan once more. Under the all-seeing eyes of the Hyuga, we will rekindle the fire that has been spread around for years now. He sat back down with a smug look on his face. As Hiruzen turned towards Fukaku, he said. There was a long silence as Fukaku got up. I agree with Hayashi. Hinata Senju should go to the Hyuga clan, he said, his face serious. Majority of the members gasped in shock, not expecting this. Are you sure that is what you wish? Hiruzen asked. Yes, I'm quite sure. Hiruzen was confused. Very well, he said. Does the council agree with this decision? Majority of them nod their heads. Then as of now, Hinata Senju will be adopted by the Hyuga clan until it is time for her to form her own. With that, he started to make them sign the papers, as Naruto had no idea that his angel would leave. However, this one little event will trigger several things that will lead to a new future. They should have just left everything alone, however, ripping away the only friend that a fragile young boy has. Ripping away the only person that cared for him, and leaving him with nothing once again. Only time can tell. Because guys, this is the end right here. If you enjoy, so you want to see the other part, go ahead and comment down below and tell me. And I'll be posting it as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4th and I post what fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become a part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is we jump right there. Hello, if you see you guys soon. Peace.